How did Indians go from looking like Rajput warriors and feasting like Mughals to now having a protein deficiency while eating instant noodles? In this video, we are going on a journey through history to understand the diets of Rajputs and Mughals, and hopefully by the end of this, you will have a diet philosophy which is far superior to your current one. This is the Sizzle Room. So I recently went to the National Museum in Delhi and I found something really interesting. There were books and manuscripts from the Mughal and Rajput periods about food. Not about wars or battle strategies, but food. I'm looking at the Ain-i-Akbari, a famous Mughal period book written by Abul Fazl, filled with recipes and multiple pages of cooking instructions on how the royal kitchens operated. And I'm standing there super confused. Why would these warrior kings care more about writing down recipes than recording their victories? That's when I found out about a very interesting story behind this. Emperor Babur had just won the Panipat War, defeating Ibrahim Lodi and taking over half of India. Now, what would most conquerors do with the family of a defeated king? Kill every last descendant of this family, perhaps? But Babur didn't do that. He let Lodi's mother continue living in the palace. He gave her a pension and even the same food he ate. One fine day, Babur sat down for a meal and took his first bite, and within minutes, blood started pouring from his mouth. His cook broke down and confessed that Lodi's mother, the very woman Babur had shown mercy to, had bribed him to poison the food. Babur survived by drinking opium mixed with milk to counteract the poison, but his health never fully recovered from this incident. And from that day, the Mughals started a practice that before an emperor would touch any food, every single meal had to be tasted by food tasters, which later became an official government position called Khwansama. Guys, imagine having a LinkedIn profile whose bio goes, "I taste royal food every day at the risk of my life." Anyway, moving on. It wasn't just the Mughals who became obsessed with food. Now comes the Rajput kings. These guys kept detailed hunting diaries documenting every wild animal they hunted, their preparation style, and the spices used in it. They wrote more about their meals than they did about their actual battles. Because these kings understood something we've completely forgotten today. Food wasn't just about staying alive, it was their identity and power. But what did they actually eat? To know this, we need to go back 600 years and get into their daily routines to understand why they ate what they ate. Let's talk about Rajputs first. For them, food was all about hunting. A Rajput king would wake up before sunrise, horses saddled and ready, because breakfast wasn't waiting for them in the palace. They chose to go out and hunt. Remember, this is not some hunting sport done for entertainment. This was how they proved who was the strongest leader. More on this later. For now, let's stick to how Rajputs used to hunt. When the king would go for the hunt, the chefs used to ride along on horseback, carrying big pots of ghee and special red chillies from Mathania near Jodhpur. The desert soil made them hotter and more flavorful, which was perfect for masking the strong wild taste of meat. They'd marinate the butchered animal immediately in those Mathania chilies with garlic, salt, and tons of ghee, and then cook it over an open campfire in heavy clay pots. And that is how we got Jungli Maas, which literally means wild meat. It had an intense smoky flavor because everything was so fresh and cooked outdoors. The meat was tougher and had a much stronger taste than regular farm animals. In the desert heat, fresh meat would spoil within hours and become deadly to eat. Those chilies weren't just for flavor, they helped keep the meat safe. They also created Laal Maas using domesticated mutton because going hunting every day was just not feasible. They would marinate mutton overnight in those same Mathania chilies and slow cook it in ghee until everything turned deep red. It became the dish we know today, but the original wild version, that's gone. You legally can't hunt those animals anymore. Unless, of course, you're a huge movie star with political...
Politics ke baare mein nahi,
Okay. Anyway, talking about politics, here's how food was used as a political tool. By the 1500s, what started as a hunting activity turned into a political game as kingdoms got bigger and armies grew. They had more and more people competing for the throne. And even after being born royal, you had to prove you deserved to lead. The Rajputs had figured out a test to find their leader. Picture this, when the king went out to hunt with hundreds of people, back home their families waited like it was a festival. Music playing, drums banging, everyone excited to see who makes the most kills and brings back enough meat to feed the whole troop. And chefs were already standing by, ready to cook whatever was brought back. The Rajputs had strict rules about all of it though. Jhatka meat only, one quick sword strike so the animal didn't suffer, and only specific people were allowed to even touch or clean the meat. When everyone came back from hunts, there should be no smell of blood, no feathers scattered around, no raw meat visible. Everything had to be cleaned up and dignified, because even in violence, there had to be honor. Food stopped being about survival and became about power, and that made it deadly. And now, I know NCERT has cut Mughals down from the syllabus, but let's go down that road for a little bit because their relationship with food was completely different. Remember that poison attempt on Babur? That changed everything. From that moment on, every Mughal emperor lived with one reality. Your food could kill you. Any meal could be your last. So when Akbar took over, he didn't just run an empire. He built a fortress around his food. His kitchen looked like a military operation. Several specialized cooks came from different parts of India and Persia. A head cook ran everything like a general. Here's a real-life anecdote of Father Montserrat, a priest who visited the Mughal Empire from Europe, who couldn't believe it. He wrote about meals with 40 dishes covered and wrapped with linen cloth which were tied up and sealed by the cook. But if someone had an amazing life in Akbar's empire, it was the chickens. These rich, spoiled, feathered brats, these Nepo babies got hand-fed special pellets mixed with saffron and rose water, that too daily. And it doesn't stop there. Servants would massage their feathers with expensive oils to keep the meat tender and fragrant. Whew! What was that famous Mirzapur dialogue? Anyway, all this luxury was actually for security because, like I said earlier, Mughals had major anxiety about getting poisoned. So Gen Zs aren't the only ones with anxiety, guys. If only Mughals had therapy back then. But the good part about this whole shebang is that we got these amazing recipes 400 years later. Murgh Musallam, Keema Pulao, Yakhni, Harissa. My God, no wonder Akbar looked like this and not like Hrithik Roshan from Jodha Akbar. I guess Bollywood doesn't care about historical accuracy. Who knew? Anyway, let's move on. A single Mughal meal had about 30 to 40 dishes laid out. Not because one person would eat it all, it was a display to show power. The food from one royal feast could feed an entire village for months. Everyone knew it. That was exactly the point. The more you could waste, the stronger you looked. The Rajputs proved strength by what they could kill. The Mughals proved power by what they could waste each day. Moving on, here's the thing. Food was more than nutrition for them. It was an identity. It was proof of who they were and whether they deserved the power they held. Your diet isn't separate from your life. It's the foundation of it. What you eat determines what your body can do, how your mind functions, how much you can endure. The Rajputs didn't eat ghee and mutton because it tasted good. They ate it because their lifestyle demanded it. Today we do the opposite. We eat for convenience, not for what our bodies need. Those Mathania chillies, desert-adapted ingredients, traditional spice combinations weren't random. They were solutions refined over centuries. If Mathania chilies worked in the desert for centuries, there's probably something growing near you that's just as powerful. You don't need to hunt wild boar or display 40 dishes to learn from them. The lesson is much simpler. The Rajputs and Mughals documented everything because food was that important. They wrote more about meals than battles because they understood battles are won in the kitchen, in the discipline of what you choose to eat and why. Match your food to your life. Training hard? Eat like someone who trains hard. Need mental clarity. Structure meals for that. Cook slowly when it matters. Not everything needs a few minutes. Some things transform only with time. We have refrigeration, food safety, global ingredients they have never dreamt of. But we've lost what they understood instinctively. Food isn't just nutrition. It is identity. It is discipline. It is the foundation of what you're capable of. And if you want more stories like this, the science and history behind the food we eat, make sure you subscribe to the Sizzle Room. There's a lot more to uncover. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.